Yeah, really, really tough decision. This is a guy who's been a really good starting pitcher in this league for a long time. Has struggled to stay on the field with injuries, but we felt like he could be a boost to our rotation. And then when when it became clear that there was maybe a better opportunity for him to contribute from the pen, we made that move. And our hope and our expectation was we were going to be able to provide enough runway to give him a chance to settle in and transition into that role and then contribute down the stretch in getting some meaningful outs for us. But circumstances changed, and we had some injuries, with Fitz and losing that length piece in the pen and needing a starter tonight. It just felt like this was what was best for the team at this point.
Correct, but why the outright release rather than DFA at this point? Is that to give him kind of a courtesy, to give him a bit of a head start on catching on elsewhere?
Yeah, just trying to be mindful and respectful of who he is and what he's accomplished, and felt like that was the fairest way to treat him at this point.
Was it something that you had kind of mentioned a possibility of or discussed with him at all, with the bullpen last week or anything like that? Just as he's been open and honest about his struggles, had you had conversations about something like this potentially happening down the road before?
No, the conversation was just around taking him out of the rotation and trying to transition him into a bullpen role, knowing he's had a ton of success in the postseason. He's had success in the postseason out of the bullpen, and seeing if that was a way for him to contribute. And like I said, at the time that we made that decision, we had the expectation and anticipated being able to give him plenty of time to get used to that role and to pitch his way into leverage spots. But like I said, the circumstances kind of around the roster had changed, and we did make sure that we're thinking about best positioning this group to win as many games as possible down the stretch here.
Craig, does Payton have a chance to kind of go somewhere with this now, or is this a one-off?
I think we brought up Payton, with the expectation that he's going to be able to contribute down the stretch for us, and exactly what that looks like, I think, is to be determined. But he's, over the last 5 months, he's really impressed at every level. He's made significant strides in terms of his development, and we have every reason to believe that he can be a very good major league starting pitcher.
The first three guys in your rotation have been very strong, as good as anybody. Where do you kind of look at those last two spots, and how much do you need to kind of improve those going into the remainder of the season?
Yeah, I don't think anybody would say that you don't want 5 consistent starting pitchers and guys that can pitch deep into games and give you a chance to win every time they take the ball. I think the reality is, the natural course of the season has ebbs and flows, and guys that pitch really well and then have hit some hurdles along the way. But we're certainly looking to stabilize the rotation. Down the stretch here, we're playing important games. We want to give every opportunity to win as many of those as possible, and we think that Payton and Dustin give us the best chance to do that right now.
This organization does not typically bring a guy to the big leagues with 20 or so professional starts under his belt. What makes Payton uniquely qualified to make this big a league this quickly?
Yeah, I think it's the total package, right? And when you evaluate whether or not someone is ready for a debut, and particularly a debut, late in the season in a pennant race, you think about the physical talent, and that I think is pretty clear. He's got an elite fastball, which is the foundation of his repertoire, unique extension, fastball playability, the ability to get guys to swing and miss in the strike zone. And his secondaries have taken real steps forward this year. Credit to him and the work that he's done, and the rest of the pitching group. And then you just think about the kind of emotional maturity and whether or not we feel like he's going to be able to perform on this stage. And he's checked every box, and we're not going to know for sure until he takes the ball under the lights tonight. But like I said, we've got every reason to believe that he's going to be successful. He's super competitive. And I think he balances being a great teammate and having a great time and really loving being around his teammates and this game with understanding that when he gets the ball, it's game time. And he's mature beyond his years. He's had, certainly tragedy with the loss of his mom, and he's had to overcome significant obstacles. And I think this is just another one, and we're really confident he'll be able to do it.
Just in terms of, because of maybe innings limits or things like that, could you see him being used other than as a traditional starter down the way here this season?
Yeah, I think at this point, he'll take the ball tonight in a traditional starting role. From there, the decisions are going to be driven by what gives us the best chance to win games. Right now we think it's him taking the ball and pitching as a starter. If at some point that changes, we'll explore it. I think it would be foolish to take anything off the table right now, but also don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
Payton wasn't your only option to pitch today or take the spot in the rotation. So what made him the best choice over Kyle Harrison or somebody else in AAA?
Yeah, I think you try to make these decisions and look at what is best for the individual and what's best for the team. And some of these are driven by the circumstances of just timing and how that lines up, and others by who you think gives you the best chance of winning. And both Payton and Kyle are guys that we have really high expectations for. Kind of lined up for Payton tonight. We're super excited about that, but Kyle's another guy that we would have a ton of confidence in.
What's your evaluation of Sandlin out of the bullpen at Worcester?
Yeah, so we love the stuff, right? And we thought that the transition would be maybe a little bit quicker than it has. He's certainly struggled a bit in terms of just the run prevention and the way that coming out of the pen, especially in a 1 or 2 inning blast, could inform pitch usage. And so I know that a bunch of the conversations with him have been focused on making sure that he's in attack mode from pitch 1, and the difference between pitching in a leverage situation versus starting and not needing to establish a full repertoire or think about how he's going to get hitters out the next time through. But we're still super optimistic that he's got all of the ingredients of being a good big league pitcher. This is just kind of the way it goes sometimes.
Going back to Walker, understanding it's something you can get a better sense of in the offseason, but what makes you think, or what reasons in your mind do you think it didn't work out here and it was just like kind of this ebbs and flow of inconsistency?
Yeah, I think consistency is the thing that we would all point to. There were a few times during the season where we felt like things were starting to click. You can look at the start against Philadelphia, the start against San Diego, and then those often were followed by starts where he had struggled a little bit. And I think if we had the perfect answers, then we wouldn't be in this position. But it's certainly not because of Walker's lack of investment in trying to get things back on track, or the pitching group's investment in trying to help him. He's been a professional. He's been super competitive. We've all seen how accountable he can be, and baseball is just it's a game where sometimes those things don't work out. But there's still plenty of season left, and I don't think any of us would be surprised if we saw him surface again and had some real success down the stretch.
And any update on Fitz? And also, given that you did let Walker go, how do you feel about your position in terms of starter depth over the duration?
Yeah, so still awaiting some more information on Fitz, but I think we've talked a handful of times over the last month or so about the depth that we've built up, in the upper levels of the minor leagues, and here in the big leagues, and certainly that depth has had a dent put in it through injuries, but still feel like we're well positioned, and I think there's a lot of creative ways that we can handle getting outs and innings, and whether that's traditional starters, whether that's being a little bit creative, we feel really good about just the overall talent of pitching that we have in the upper levels. Yeah, making progress, and at the time of the injury, did not see any structural damage and felt like this was just a matter of, kind of rest, no throw for about 10 days and then ramping things back up. And so far, that's kind of been the progression for him.
Is there a chance Liam Hendricks can pitch this year?
Yeah. I think, again, day-to-day making progress, and don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but he's working really, really hard to be able to contribute.
What do you think would be the thought process for the September call-ups? What area do you think you would be focused to the September call-ups?
Yeah, I think we'll see how we get through these next couple of days, and depth is something that we've worked really hard to build, and we have the ability to add both an arm and a position player. We'll kind of take inventory of where we are and make the decision that we think helps Alex and provide some versatility to the group. And that could, I think, take a number of different forms.
Is Christian Campbell, is he a guy we could see up here again this year, or would you rather kind of keep him on the development path he's on?
Yeah, no, potentially. Christian's really swung the bat well over the last month and a half or so, and I think you can start to see just the confidence, and athleticism starting to surface again, which has been great. And we have really high expectations for him, and he has high expectations for himself. And we want to make sure, if and when he's back in this environment, he's able to be successful and thrive.
What have you seen from him at first base?
Yeah, he's learning a ton. This was new to him, and it's a credit to him that he's willing to take this on. And he's such an incredible athlete. He kind of learns by doing these things. He learns by being shown them. And I was talking to Trace, to our AAA manager, probably a week or so ago about Christian. He said, every day is a learning opportunity, and when a play comes up, they talk through it, and sure enough, the next time it happens, he's in the right place or he's making the right decision. So it's been really encouraging.
Craig, would you like to continue the team's relationship with Aroldis Chapman beyond this year?
As we sit here today and we look at a closer having a historically good season, that has to be something that you'd consider. Obviously, it takes both sides here, to work through some things. And by every account, Aroldis' signing has been a really good one for us, and I think he's been outspoken about how much he's enjoyed it here.